Welcome back. So in this tutorial, we'll learn about data types and variables in JavaScript. So let's create one new file called part6.js. So in programming language, there are mostly two types of programming language, which is one is statically typed, and the other is dynamically typed. So let's understand what is statically typed. In statically typed language, each variable and expression type is already known on the compile time. So once a variable is declared to be a certain data type, it cannot hold value of other data types. So let's example, in Java, what we have to do is, in order to create a variable, we have to mention the data type first. Int abc equal to abc. So here what it means is, the type of this variable abc is int. That means I cannot assign string to the integer, right? So it has to be this way. That means over the course of time, I cannot go and say abc equal to number. So this is not a valid thing in statically typed. So in short, once a variable is declared to be of certain data type, it cannot hold values of other data types, and this is followed in languages like C, C++, Java, etc. Correct? And in case of dynamically typed, what we can do is, we don't have to mention the type of the variable in the compile time. So the dynamically typed languages can receive different data types over time. Like for example, if I say where a equal to 7, then later on in the program I can say let a equal to Pratap. So this is valid. So which all languages does follow this dynamically typed? So it's like programming language like Python, JavaScript, Ruby, etc. follow this dynamically typed language. Okay, so let's learn about data types in JavaScript. As we know, now we know that JavaScript is dynamically typed. So let's try to understand what are different data types of JavaScript. So like from the previous section and this current section, now we know that we have a data type of number and data type of string. We also have a data type of boolean, a data type of null, a data type of undefined, a data type of symbol, a data type of big int, a data type called object. Yeah. So let me put this just below the object since it was recently introduced. So first let's learn about the number data type. So number data type represents both integer and floating point number. So it can be 1, it can be 4, it can be minus 1.5, it can be 2, it can be 7.5. That means any integer, both negative and positive integers, okay, and floating point numbers are considered as number data type. So what I can say here, where ABC equal to 8. So if I check the data type of ABC, so you can see that it is saying number. So this is a number data type. So now let's learn about string data type. So string, what is string? A string is a sequence of characters. In JavaScript, string can be enclosed within a single or double quotes. So for example, Pratap Sharma. So this is a string data type. So it can be both single quote or inside a double quote. So let's take an example here, where I am string equal to Pratap. Now if I hover off this I am string, then you can see that the type of this variable is string. And boolean. So boolean can be either true or false. So it can be true, it can be false. So if I say I create a variable called bool and assign true to it. So let's take the type of this variable. So you can see it says that the type of this variable is boolean, right? Now let's learn about null. So null is a type of variable which can have only a single value, one value. That means null. If I say where I am null and assign a value null to it, so the type of variable will be, so here it's saying any, but if I say this, so this is still null, correct? Null means having no value. And we have undefined. So what is undefined in JavaScript? A variable that has not been assigned a value is undefined. That means that there's a difference between null and undefined. Null means it has no value, and undefined means no value has been assigned. For example, where ABCD. So if I just leave it like this and try to if I try to do like this, it will print undefined, because the type of because this ABCD does not have any value assigned to it. Okay, so what is symbol in JavaScript? Unlike other primitive data types, it does not have any literal form. It is a built-in object whose constructor returns a symbol that is unique. So we'll learn about symbol in later section. So I'll just skip it for now. And then in JavaScript, we have another type called object. So what is object? We can say anything that is inside this curly bracket is object. So in JavaScript, it is the most important data type and forms the building block of modern JavaScript. We will learn about this object data type in further section, where this, as I just told you, it's a building block of JavaScript. So let's take an example of object. Let I am object equal to, so this is an object, and then I can assign some values here. Name Pratap. So this is an object. Anything that is placed inside a curly braces in JavaScript is an object. So so far we have completed all the basic data types in JavaScript. So there is one data type called big int. This was recently introduced in JavaScript. So big int type represents the whole number that are larger than 2 to the power 53 minus 1. Anything number that is larger than this particular number. So let's say a number has a value which is higher than this thing, then the type of that variable will be big int. To form a big int literal number, you append the letter n at the end of the number. So that means I can say let big equal to 3n. So the type of variable will be big int, as you can see here, right? So we'll learn about all these small data types later in the section. I'll elaborate them. So now let's learn about variables in JavaScript. So far in the previous section and in this current section, I've talked about variable multiple times. So let's understand what a variable is. Variable in JavaScript are containers that hold reusable data. It is a basic unit of storage in a programming language. That means if I say let name equal to Pratap, then later in the program I can use this name multiple times. Like for example, his name is name. That means I don't have to rewrite the name every time. So it's giving me cross here because I cannot use name as it is from the JavaScript. So I can just say name1 and add name1 here. Or I can use it the other way around. Console.log name1 has been following JavaScript since 6 years. That means instead of writing Pratap here, instead of repeating those things multiple times, what we did is we just create a variable called name1. I assigned a value to it, and then I'm able to use it multiple times. So there is a points to note here. Number one, the value stored in JavaScript can be changed during program execution. As I told you earlier, now if I say name1 equal to Pratap here, I can say name1 equal to Madhav. That means in the course of the program, the value of this variable has changed. Correct? And the second point, a variable is only a name given to a memory location. All the operation done on the variable affects that memory location. That means whenever I create a variable for this case name1, it's pointing the location in the memory. Correct? So when I change the value of name1 from Pratap to Madhav, that means I have changed the value in that particular location and not the name. So when I try to check the value of this name1 in this after this line, the value in that particular memory location has changed from Pratap to Madhav. So I will get Madhav here. We'll learn more about this practically in the coming section as we move ahead. So just kindly note all these small steps so that this will be helpful in the next sections, right? In JavaScript, all the variable must be declared before they can be used. I cannot do like console.log age and let age equal to 10. I cannot do this. In JavaScript, a variable must be declared before it is being used. So we cannot do this way. We have to first declare a variable and then we can use the variable. So it should be this way. But this was about variable. If you remember, we have the keyword called var. So before ES2015, we were able to declare we were able to access the variable before declaring it, but after the ES2015, so this is not true anymore. Correct? So a variable name for in this instance, name1 is the name of the variable which is stored by the user, and it should be unique. These types of names are also known as identifiers. So we learned about identifiers yesterday, if you remember. Here all these are identifiers, or in short, name of the variable. So far we have covered different data types of JavaScript, and we have learned that JavaScript is a untyped language, which means that once a variable is created in JavaScript using the keyword where, we can store any type of value in this variable supported by JavaScript. Okay. Now let's learn about the scope of a variable in JavaScript. So in JavaScript, we have two types of scope, one called global scope, the other is local scope. So what is a global scope? Global scope means anything that is available globally. So for example, you can say sun is available to all the human beings, but the light in my room is available just for me. So which is called local scope. And then the sun is a global scope. Anything that is available to everyone is a global scope. Anything or something that is available just to one person or a group of people is a local scope. So to understand this different scopes, I'll say let scope 1 equal to I am scope 1. And let's create a function. We'll learn about function later on in this section. For now, just writing this to make you understand the different types of scopes. So here, if you see, this scope 1 is available outside this function. That means this is a global scope, and then this scope 2 is declared inside a function called fun. So this is local scope for this function. So anything that is declared globally will be able to access it from inside a function or inside from another scope. But anything that is declared inside a local scope, it's not accessible from the outside world. That means I cannot do scope 2 here, because scope 2 is a local scope here. Okay, so when we execute the function, so let's try to execute this function f1. So it says that a reference error scope 2 is not defined, which means that scope 2 is defined inside a function, but I'm trying to access it outside of a function. That means scope 2 is not accessible from outside the function. Therefore, this is a global scope, but this is a local scope. A global scope is accessible from inside a function, but a local scope is not accessible from outside of that function. So we'll learn more about these variables, functions, and all in the later section. So I think this is it from this section. So see you soon in the next section. Thank you.